Okay, so to start this video report, I just figured I'd introduce kind of where I was at in my practicum, which was I was at Art City Elementary in Springville in the 4th grade, to which I worked with a student named Brody, and he was the one I observed throughout the 2 weeks as well as implemented my strategy. So to first introduce my strategy, I decided to do active listening and personalized support as my strategy. Really trying to make teaching equitable for both Brody, specifically in math. This is where he tended to struggle the most, in the sense of he wanted to work, but math was really hard for him to click. And so what ended up happening is, as I was assessing this, I was assessing specifically what strategies what specific math strategies he seemed to learn best with. And this wasn't super hard, as my teacher was really great in trying to give students lots of different variables to work with, as well as giving lots of different examples of how they could solve an equation. And so he did a lot better with hands-on support with math. And so I also felt like building rapport with Brody was super helpful, so I could get a little bit more trust, as well as just get to know him better and build that rapport. I think obviously when the student knows you care, things just tend to go a lot smoother and better. And so Brody and I would take about a 5-minute, 5 to 10, actually no, probably more 10 to 15 minutes in tier 2 math time. And we would go over simple things that probably needed a lot of attention, as well as just using a lot, like I said, that hands-on variables. Like, we use a lot of base 10 blocks to help him learn math. And so I also learned that Brody does very well just in general with visuals. And so I remember there was one day we specifically worked with fractions, and we were multiplying fractions. And Brody had a hard time understanding that the actual fractions we had weren't the portions weren't changing, we were just cutting them up even more. And so for him, what essentially I had to do was I knew that Brody also really liked brownies, which is kind of funny, Brody brownies, but I would essentially draw this picture of brownies, and I would say, okay, how many brownies do we have? Then we would draw it out of usually 100, and then I would shade it, and then I would make it relevant to him, saying, let's say you ate 20 of these brownies. So I'd shade in 20 of the brownies, and then I would say, let's say your mom made you another pan, not knowing I had already made you a pan. And then let's say that her and your dad ate 15 of those brownies, and we wanted to see how many brownies we had all together. Anyway, I wouldn't even say we're multiplying fractions. It was something along those lines, though, and trying to help him understand that we weren't changing the amount we had, we were just combining the two pans. And it just was really cool for me to see him click specifically with what was going on and what he was understanding. And so in the end, we just kept consistent, and we also, something along with this that I found really crucial for Brody in his personalized support was also positive reinforcement, understanding that he was understanding it and it was clicking. And honestly, to reflect, I would say the strategy was quite effective. We know that equitable teaching is obviously always the goal, but specifically this personal act with active listening and personalized support, it better helped me understand Brody and his needs, and it also helped build a lot of rapport with us. And it also improved his engagement with math. Like I said, when you have improved engagement, we know that students tend to learn so much better. And lastly, there was just positive academic growth because of that improved engagement. And it was, and truly, I grew to love Brody more than I even thought I would. And so this was a really fun assignment actually for me. So yeah, that was what my reflection on active listening and personalized growth.